ranking my 8 companies from easiest to hardest in terms of building and maintaining. What's up, guys? My name is Brian Tran. Welcome to my channel. I run 8 companies, and some are easy, some are hard, but ultimately it allows me to live the life that I live, drive the cars that I want, have all the freedom, options, and choices. So let's get right into it. So I'm making this video to kind of give you guys real life experience on what it takes to start these different companies, right? And hopefully you get a lot of value out of it, because one of the companies I have is something that you may be considering starting. So let's get right into it. Number 1, starting off with the easiest company to start and run, believe it or not, is actually my biggest revenue company with the most amount of employees, so much intricate parts, and I'm gonna explain to you why it's the easiest. But the company that takes number 1 spot is the VA Hub. So the VA Hub is my virtual assistant company. Basically, we provide staffing from Colombia, Argentina, Philippines, Indonesia for US-based companies. And actually now we've expanded into Australia, New Zealand, and Canada as well. In terms of revenue, the VA Hub is a multiple 7-figure earner. The startup cost for this company, guys, because it's all virtual, we didn't have to have any big office or anything like that. The first year was $40,000 US. That's it. And I mean, that's a lot of money, but as I start going deeper into some of these other companies, you're gonna be like, holy smokes, $40,000, that's it? But the reason why this company is so easy, it wasn't the first company I started, but when we opened it, we built it out like a real company, right? We hired a COO, we hired different department heads. We actually have a very good C-suite for this company that allows me to kind of just look at things from a high level and jump in when things are needed. But typically right now, I spend about 30 minutes to an hour a week with the team going over some of the vision, some of the goals, and a little bit of the day-to-day, but very, very little. So number 1 spot, the VA Hub. And truly, guys, the lesson here with the VA Hub is that when you're building out a company, it's actually better to go big, right? If the company relies only on you, that means all the headaches, all the problems are gonna land on your shoulders. So when you're building big companies, you actually have, HR, client services, different departments to manage different things, and, kind of makes it a lot easier, believe it or not. So that's the number 1 spot for the easiest. Coming in at number 2, guys, and this is easy because I started this company also kind of later in my career, and I don't know if it has something to do with the fact that as I got older, as I had more experience, things started to get a little bit easier, but this is our media company, Focus Media. Again, Focus Media isn't my biggest earner, but it easily pulls in multiple 6 figures every single year, so it's a nice little paycheck for myself. And Focus Media basically is more real estate and event focused. So we shoot listing photos, listing videos, events, parties, stuff like that. And that company actually has a CEO that runs it as well. I kind of come in, look at the financials, look at the KPIs, and we kind of just adjust accordingly. But I mean, honestly, the startup cost for that one was 5 months of payroll. We budgeted that at $6,000 a month. So that was $36,000. Equipment for the best camera, I think an FX30 or something like that. Don't quote me. I'm not a camera guy. The CEO gave me the list. That was about $13,000. So all in, guys, I like to say this one was actually only $13,000 because in month 1, we generated enough revenue to cover all the payroll. So initial startup cost, $13,000. So super easy. I check in once a quarter. It runs, it does pretty well. Is it one of my biggest revenue makers? Absolutely not, but it's kind of nice because it's an ancillary business to one of the other businesses we have, which I'll get into, but that one is not next. Coming in at number 3, guys, in terms of the easiest company to start, but I have to say, in terms of startup costs, this was not very easy. And this is actually my real estate holding company. Today we have over 14 units I've bought and sold. So by the time this video comes out, I think I might actually be at like 17. But this, in terms of how easy it is to manage, it's pretty easy because we have property managers that deal with all the tenants. And when things break, they just kind of give me a call and I write a check. Not that difficult, right? However, I didn't know where to really put this because in terms of easy to start up, it wasn't that easy, guys. Real estate is very capital intensive, and unless you're doing subject to or the BRRRR strategy, right, all of which we've implemented some, but the very first property was very hard for me to buy because, like anything, it's such a large number and it's hard to pull the trigger. But once you pull the trigger on the first one, it becomes an easy decision to just keep buying real estate. But saving up for the capital, you know, that's a different story, right? You gotta be disciplined and not blowing your money and buying the Lambos too early and putting down 20 to 30% on each one of these properties. But I gotta say, guys, once it rolls and you get enough properties to where it generates enough money to put more down payments on the, you know, the 10th house, the 11th house, the 13th house, it literally, you can just buy properties every other year if you just basically don't touch the money that's in the real estate portfolio. So I put it at number 3 because, you know, I think that because of the amount of headspace that I have to dedicate to it is so low, I put it at number 3. But capital-wise and startup-wise, it's pretty difficult. It should actually be up there in the final position. Coming in at number 4 in terms of easiest to hardest, we're getting there, guys. We're at the middle point, is actually my real estate brokerage, 50 Hills Real Estate. Today we have over 20 agents selling over, I don't know, multiple $1 million every year. And I, up until about 2 years ago, I was still very much in production. So I was in the business, selling, listing properties, helping people buy properties, putting them in my car, showing them 10 homes a day. That was very difficult. And in terms of startup costs, not so much, right? Like startup costs to get a license, guys, is I think $3,000, including your MLS dues, right? So not a whole lot, but very hard to be successful in the real estate space as a realtor. But it is also very rewarding, guys, because I don't know any other career where I could have made $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 a year, you know, on commission. Like nobody was gonna pay me that in my 20s. So like, I think it's super rewarding. And if you guys want to pursue the career, I think it's a great space to be in. And honestly, anything with sales and commissions, you just can't go wrong. So that's the number 4 spot today. I make multiple 6 figures from that as well. We got hit last year really bad with what was going on in the marketplace, interest rates going through the roof, but we just did our profit and loss, guys, and I still pulled in something pretty nice, you know, in the 6 figures. Coming in at number 5, this company, I have to say, guys, is difficult, but it is very profitable, and that is my flipping company. That company, guys, in terms of how much it takes, in the beginning, it was very expensive because today I can make a few phone calls and get investors to invest in the properties where I can buy properties with literally none of my own money. But before that happened, before I had the reputation, I had to save up all my money from, you know, selling houses and doing all that to fund these projects. And even though I had hard money lenders giving me 80% LTV at the time, which is loan to value, you know, I still had to come up with the other 20% plus the construction costs. So you can imagine, like, in terms of how easy that is, it's pretty difficult, guys. Like, I mean, we're flipping properties in San Francisco where they're $1 million to $1.5 million. So you got to imagine 20% of $1 million, $200,000, and most of these homes needed another $250,000 in renovation. So I had to have $450,000 liquid to start flipping houses. Eventually, guys, I would say that today it's much easier in terms of the money aspect because my reputation's there. I make 5 phone calls, I can raise $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, and they'll be like, Brian, let me invest in your projects, no big deal. But that comes with time, experience, and your reputation. So you have to protect your reputation at all costs. We made $1 million flipping homes in 2023. And this year, we expect to beat that because we already got some beautiful properties in escrow, in the works. So I already know we're gonna do way better in that company this year. Coming in at the number 6 spot, this company is been challenging, guys. It is hard, and that is my personal brand. That is the YouTube channel, that is the TikTok, the Instagram, the events that we hold, the community that we're building. And I gotta say, it's expensive because I gotta pay for the videographer, I gotta pay for the editors, I gotta pay for the space, I gotta pay for all this stuff. And the hardest part is that you don't see instant money like some of the other businesses that I started. Now, I agree, some people can actually do this on their own. They can, very well pick up the phone and start recording and doing all that. That's great. I just don't have all the time in the world to dedicate all my energy to making that. So that's why we hired the videographer. So that is an added expense, but I can totally see somebody who has a little bit more time on their hands doing this on their own and building a personal brand, getting brand deals, selling products, or even selling courses. Like, that's no problem. And I think you should definitely do it, because right now your eyeballs, like the attention, is the currency. And that's why we're spending so much time, so much energy making these videos. So if you could do me a big favor, guys, if you're getting a lot of value out of this video, give me the thumbs up, man. Give me the comments and share this with some friends and sub, man. It's been so hard. It's been so hard. But I wouldn't trade it. I actually enjoy making videos. I enjoy meeting our viewers, meeting the followers that we have. It's a lot of fun, man. And so I don't care if we don't make any money off of it. I do it because there's like a passion inside for me. So that's that. In terms of how much revenue it brought in negative $180,000 so far. Coming in at the number 7 spot is Honey Bear Boba. Why? Brick and mortar businesses are tough as heck. And especially, guys, after coming through COVID, like, we had to deal with all those rules, all those regulations. Every freaking week they were giving us something new to do, like, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. It was a pain in the butt. And now that we're out of COVID, well, guess what? There's still like a bunch of stuff that happens and things break all the time. Not to mention, like, you have to have so much people on payroll to run these brick and mortar stores. Landlords are constantly trying to raise the rent on you. Garbage companies raising the prices, PG&E, which is our electric companies, raising the prices, water bills going through the roof. Like, it takes so much to make money in the food and beverage industry. And so, I mean, granted, yes, it makes multiple 6 figures, but believe it or not, guys, I don't even make 6 figures off of Honey Bear Boba. I think that's in the 5, like, in terms of net profit, guys. I like to talk about net profit. I don't like gross. Everybody likes to BS and be like, well, I made $1 million or I made $2 million, but that's how much was brought in. How much did you actually keep? Honey Bear, guys, I'm making the thousands. Like, honestly, it's more of a passion project. It allows me to be creative. I can do the marketing. I can make the drinks. I can have a place to go to and just grab free boba instead of paying somebody else for boba and actually make a little money every year. So that is the number 7 spot, Honey Bear Boba. Coming in at the top spot for the most expensive to open, the hardest to run, the one that brings me the most headache. Now, granted, guys, it ain't that much headache. Like, I'm pretty good at handling stress. But I don't want my employees watching this to be like, oh, he's complaining. I'm not, guys. I love you. Mwah. But in terms of ranking all the companies, okay, taking in at the number 1 spot is the coffee shops that we own, Rise and Grind Coffee House in San Francisco and Oakland. We have 3 locations, guys. First location, let's talk about it, okay? The first location actually cost $78,000 to buy an existing coffee shop that was literally ugly as hell. And we put an additional $50,000 in to revamp it. By no means was it beautiful. We did a lot of the work ourselves. This was one of the earlier companies that I started. And so we put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this one. So, like, physically, it required the most amount of time. My back and my forearms are still never the same because we were breaking the tiles to replace it. And so the first shop, $130,000 to start up. That was back in 2016. And the first day that we opened, we made $200 in sales. $200 the whole day. Now, granted, today it's doing a lot better. And if you go to the original location on 785 8th Avenue, it's popping. It's right next to Golden Gate Park. It does really well. We've been there for 7+ years. It has a reputation. It's well known, so it really cranks. But in order to make the money that we make there, we got like a gang load of freaking employees, right? My payroll there is easily $45,000, right, for the whole Rise and Grind brand a month. $45,000 to $50,000 just to run it, right? And so that's that. Second location, I made a big mistake, guys. I instead of just buying an existing shop and converting it, I decided we're gonna convert this space, which was high ceiling, 2-story mezzanine, looked really cool, and put the second location there. But granted, you know, things were cranking, right? Like the first shop was doing really well. All my other businesses were starting to do well. I was like, no, it's gonna be cool. And I think it might have been more of an ego play looking back, because we wanted like a really awesome space. We put in $300,000 to open up Rise and Grind 2. You know, built everything, had to do all the plumbing, deal with all the health department, pay rent for X amount of months until we were able to open. And the first month we opened, we did really well. But guess what happened the following month? COVID-19 shut us down. And literally the location that we're in, the Mission, used to be bustling, popping. Today, it's a little sad, guys. So traffic's down. That store literally is breaking even every single month. So that's just me being truthful. So we deal with all the headache, all the build out, and we're doing it all for break even. Rise and Grind 3, we got a little smarter. Remember, I said, okay, we're not gonna build out any new space. So we found an existing space that was ready for us to just put an espresso machine, plug it in, and that's Rise and Grind 3 in Oakland, California, right by Lake Merritt inside Fire Wings. So if you've ever been to Fire Wings in Oakland, it's right next door. Come swing by, say what's up. But that one, again, we only had to buy equipment, plug and play, got it open, and now that store is doing pretty well. So 2 out of the 3 stores, well, I say this, first location kills it, second location breaks even, third location makes a little bit, you know what I mean? So overall, a lot of headache. I mean, it brings in 7 figures, but the net on that is in the low 6 figures. So is it worth it? I think so, but I think it's time to, personally, I think we're gonna move away from the brick and mortar space. Like opening more brick and mortars just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us. Right now, looking at the portfolio of companies that we have, I'm starting to realize that the virtual space, the subscription-based, the personal brand is a much better route to go in. But if you guys are considering opening up a brick and mortar space, I mean, I've done it for 7 years. I have a lot of experience. Comment down below, I can share with you that. If any of these other companies intrigue you, guys, I'm here as a resource. My thing is, if you wanna open up a Boba shop, reach out to me, man. I'd love to teach you. If you wanna open up a real estate brokerage, you wanna pick my brain, I got you there too. And ultimately, if you wanna start up a media company like Focus Media and wanting to make multiple 6 figures, that's easy. There's a need for that. And if you wanna start the VA Hub, that might be a little bit more difficult, guys, but everything's possible. And if you're looking for a virtual assistant or outsourcing your staff, reach out to the VA Hub, guys. I'm here to be a resource, and that's what I wanna do. So I hope this video was useful for you guys. If you want me to dive a little bit deeper into the numbers or anything like that with any of these companies, comment down below, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video.